Ethan had never imagined that one mission would change his life forever. The distant planet of Varela had been quiet when he and his unit landed, its sprawling forests bathed in the soft glow of twin suns. But peace was deceptive. Rumors had reached Earth that rogue mercenaries were hunting alien children, rare young members of a species whose survival was critical to galactic balance. Most soldiers would have avoided it, citing protocol or danger. But not Ethan. He had always acted on instinct when someone needed help. He was patrolling the forest edge when he heard the faintest cry, a sound so desperate. It pierced through the wind and the rustling of alien trees. Ethan froze, his instincts telling him that this was no ordinary animal. The cry became clearer, more urgent. Then he saw her, a small alien girl, barely 5 feet tall with luminous blue skin that shimmered under the sunlight. Her large golden eyes were wide with fear. Mercenaries were closing in, armed with weapons Ethan didn't immediately recognize, but the intent was clear. Without thinking, Ethan sprinted forward. Every step he took was a calculation, a mix of urgency and survival. Bullets or energy blasts whizzed past him, some tearing into the ground, some grazing the bark of massive trees. He reached her just as a blast narrowly missed her shoulder. He grabbed her, pulling her behind the thick trunk of a giant tree. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked, trying to sound calm despite his racing heart. She nodded, but her trembling hands betrayed her fear. Ethan's mind raced. He couldn't leave her here. Not like this. He pulled out his sidearm, firing carefully, taking down one of the mercenaries who had been creeping around the side. But there were too many. One of them aimed straight at Ethan, and the world turned into a blur of pain. He fell to the ground, feeling the impact of the first shot. Then the second, third, each one tearing through him. Yet he pushed forward, dragging the girl behind him. Humans were not supposed to survive 7 gunshots, but adrenaline and sheer determination gave him strength. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, Ethan reached a shallow ravine. He shoved the girl into it, shielding her with his body. The mercenaries hesitated, unsure of how to approach someone still moving despite grievous wounds. Ethan took advantage of their hesitation. He gritted his teeth and swung, knocking one mercenary off balance and then another. But then everything went black. When Ethan woke, the world was not the same. The air was thicker, warmer, and smelled of something sweet yet unfamiliar. He blinked, trying to focus, and realized he was lying on a surface that was soft yet strangely firm. Looking up, he froze. A massive figure loomed above him. The alien was enormous, at least 10 feet tall, her body strong and muscular yet elegant. Her skin shimmered in shades of deep violet, and her eyes, 2 golden orbs, studied him intently. He wanted to speak, to ask where he was, but his throat was dry, his body aching from the wounds he barely remembered. The giant alien shifted slightly, enough to ease her weight off him, but still maintaining a watchful posture. She spoke, not with words he understood, but with a series of melodic tones that seemed almost like music. To his surprise, he understood her. Not fully, but the meaning was clear. She was curious, cautious, and aware of his presence. Ethan pushed himself up on trembling arms, trying to look less vulnerable than he felt. I didn't mean to intrude," he said slowly, unsure if she could even comprehend him. The alien's golden eyes narrowed slightly, studying him with intensity. Then, with a motion as gentle as it was deliberate, she extended one massive hand and helped him to his feet. He staggered, still weak from the gunshots, but he stood, gripping the alien's hand with his own. It was then he noticed the small figure beside her, Lyra, the girl he had saved. She looked unharmed, her luminous blue skin glowing faintly. She smiled at him, relief evident in her large golden eyes. "You saved her." The giant alien's tone conveyed more than her words. "You risked yourself. You are different." Ethan nodded, unsure how to explain. "I couldn't leave her. Not like that." The alien regarded him silently for a moment, then stepped back. Ethan could see the enormity of the chamber now. The walls were alive, not with metal or concrete, but with something that looked organic, like a living coral of violet and silver. Bioluminescent plants pulsed with a soft light, and strange creatures moved in the shadows, observing him. The air hummed with energy. Despite his pain, Ethan took a deep breath. His human mind began to analyze his situation. He was far from Earth, in a place utterly alien, yet he had survived. He had protected someone who could not protect herself. And somehow the giant alien, Thyra as he later learned, was not hostile. That alone was remarkable. He looked at Lyra. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She nodded again. Ethan wanted to reassure her, but he had no words. Instead, he smiled, trying to convey the promise that she was safe. Thyra observed the interaction closely. Her species valued strength, intelligence, and courage. Humans were rare in their eyes, but this human, small, fragile, yet unyielding, displayed a type of bravery that was almost mythical. She decided to test him. "Can you fight without fear?" her melodic voice asked. Ethan didn't know if she expected words or action. He chose action. When she gestured toward a small hovering drone that moved with sudden aggression, Ethan instinctively dodged and countered with a simple maneuver, disabling it with a rock from the floor. Thyra's eyes widened slightly. Humans could think, adapt, and act with ingenuity in ways her people rarely saw. Hours passed. Ethan's wounds were still fresh, but Thyra provided some form of healing, a glowing substance she applied with her massive hands. It stung at first, but soon he felt strength returning. During the recovery, Ethan observed his surroundings. Strange vines wrapped around the chamber's walls, pulsating with light. Small creatures with wings like stained glass hovered nearby, and the air vibrated with a soft hum of life. It was beautiful, alien, and terrifying all at once. Yet he felt no fear. He had faced death on the battlefield. This was simply another challenge. Lyra moved closer to him, her small hand brushing his arm. He understood instinctively that she trusted him completely. That trust fueled him, reminding him of why he had fought so hard to save her. The weight of survival, of responsibility pressed on him, but it also strengthened his resolve. Thyra finally spoke again, her tone softer now. She explained that Lyra belonged to a rare and vital species. They were key to the survival of her people, and that made her target valuable. Humans were unknown to her species, and Ethan's actions had demonstrated qualities they rarely saw: courage, compassion, and ingenuity. "You risked your life for one of ours," she said. "You are remarkable for your kind." Ethan shook his head, a faint smile forming despite the pain. "I just did what anyone should do. Help when someone is in danger." Thyra's gaze lingered on him. She seemed to study every movement, every reaction, as though trying to determine whether he was truly worthy of her trust. And in that moment, Ethan realized he wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was a representative of humanity in a world that had never known humans. His actions could shape their perception of Earth's people forever. As the twin suns began to set outside the massive chamber windows, casting long shadows across the organic walls, Ethan sat beside Lyra, tending to the small alien girl. He had no idea what the future held, but he knew one thing: he would not falter. He had survived impossible odds before, and he would survive here, in this alien world, to protect those who could not protect themselves. And somewhere deep inside, a spark of anticipation ignited. This world, its mysteries, and the enormous beings that inhabited it were just the beginning. Ethan had a feeling that his journey had only just begun, and that humanity, despite its size and seeming fragility, might play a role far greater than anyone could imagine. As night fell over the alien city, Ethan closed his eyes briefly, letting the calm wash over him. The pain from his wounds was still there, but the fear was gone. For the first time in a long while, he felt truly alive. Not just surviving, but ready to meet whatever challenges this strange, vast world would throw at him. Ethan woke to the soft glow of bioluminescent light filling the alien chamber. The pain from his gunshot wounds had mostly subsided, thanks to the healing agent Thyra had applied. Lyra was awake too, sitting quietly beside him, her large golden eyes scanning the room with curiosity. She reached out and held his hand, and Ethan felt a surprising sense of connection. Somehow, in this alien world, trust and understanding could cross species barriers. Thyra appeared at the edge of the chamber, her massive form towering gracefully. "You rest today," she said in her melodic voice, which Ethan now understood better. Though their languages were different, the meaning came through clearly. "Tomorrow we train," Ethan nodded. He had learned quickly that survival in this world required more than courage. It required adaptation. He looked at Lyra and smiled faintly. "You ready to teach me, little one?" Lyra grinned, and together they began the lessons. Thyra had a way of showing him how to move in sync with the alien environment. The forest outside was dangerous, filled with predators, but also full of resources. Ethan learned to climb enormous trees using his human strength, dodge strange predators, and even communicate with the smaller creatures that seemed to understand him instinctively. His human ingenuity came into play frequently, improvising tools, understanding patterns, and predicting threats. During these lessons, Ethan noticed something remarkable. Thyra's people, despite their size and strength, respected intelligence and bravery above all else. His human mind, even though smaller and physically weaker, was capable of solving problems quickly and with creativity. Every move he made, every choice he took drew attention. Slowly he realized that he wasn't just learning from them, he was showing them what humans could do. As days passed, Ethan began exploring more of the alien city with Lyra. The city was alive, almost breathing with energy. Organic towers spiraled upward, glowing softly, connected by pathways that seemed to float in midair. Alien citizens observed Ethan cautiously at first, but his consistent bravery and care for Lyra began earning their respect. Some of the smaller aliens approached him curiously, testing his reactions. Each time Ethan responded with calmness, humor, or skill, impressing them further. It wasn't long before the danger returned. Scouts reported that the mercenaries who had attacked Lyra were tracking the girl's location. This time they were more numerous and more aggressive, aware of Ethan's interference. Thyra convened a council to decide their strategy. Ethan, still recovering, listened and realized he could contribute. He suggested using their natural environment to their advantage, laying traps and confusing the attackers with tactics they might not expect. Thyra studied him intently, impressed by the combination of courage and ingenuity. The next day the battle began. Ethan, though smaller and weaker, took the lead. Humans were often underestimated by larger species, and he used that to his advantage. He coordinated attacks, set clever traps, and guided Lyra to safety when things became dangerous. His quick thinking turned what could have been a massacre into a strategic victory. One by one, the mercenaries were either captured or forced to retreat. Thyra and her warriors marveled at the humans' ability to survive and adapt. After the fight, Ethan and Lyra stood together while the alien city celebrated their victory. Thyra approached him, her massive figure imposing but her expression warm. "You have shown what your kind can do. Not just strength or speed, but courage, intelligence, and heart. Your people, they are remarkable." Ethan shook his head. "I just did what anyone should do. Protect someone who can't protect themselves. That's all." Thyra studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Perhaps you're right. But this world and your actions here will be remembered. You have earned the trust of our people." Life slowly returned to a new normal. Ethan began to teach the aliens some human strategies and techniques, combining them with their natural abilities. Lyra became his constant companion, learning from his creativity and optimism. Ethan realized that even in a world filled with beings far larger and stronger than humans, bravery and intelligence could make a difference. Time passed, and the bond between humans and this alien species strengthened. Ethan's role grew from rescuer to ambassador, bridging the gap between two worlds. He worked with Thyra to establish communication, trade, and knowledge sharing. Humans, despite their small size, were now seen as allies capable of bravery, empathy, and ingenuity. One evening, Ethan walked through the alien city with Lyra by his side. The twin suns had set and the organic towers glowed softly. Small creatures hovered around them, and the city hummed with life. Ethan looked at Lyra and smiled. "We did it. We made a difference." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining. "You saved me. You saved everyone." Ethan felt a sense of pride mixed with humility. He had not only survived impossible odds, but had also shown that humanity's courage could impact even the most advanced alien civilizations. His heart swelled with hope for the future, hope that humans, no matter their size, could leave a mark on the galaxy. Thyra joined them quietly, standing beside Ethan, her presence both protective and respectful. "You have changed how we see humans," she said softly. "Your species has potential beyond what we imagined, and you are part of that change." Ethan looked out over the city, the soft glow of lights reflecting in Lyra's eyes. He thought of Earth, of his home, and realized that humanity's journey had only begun. They were small, perhaps fragile compared to giants. But courage, intelligence, and compassion made humans powerful in ways that size and strength could not measure. And in that moment, Ethan understood something profound. Being human was not about physical might. It was about the choices one made, the courage to act when others could not, and the heart to protect those in need. He had risked his life for Lyra, and in doing so, he had proven humanity's worth to an entire civilization. As night fully enveloped the alien city, Ethan stood between Lyra and Thyra, looking at the glowing towers, the bustling streets, and the stars beyond. He knew that challenges would come again, that danger was never far in this galaxy, but he was ready. Humanity's spirit had been tested and had risen, and somewhere deep within him, Ethan felt a thrill of anticipation. This was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders, dangers, and civilizations yet to meet. But one thing was certain. Humans, no matter how small, had a place among the stars. Their courage, ingenuity, and heart could change worlds. And Ethan, the soldier who had once been shot 7 times to save an alien girl, was living proof of that truth. He held Lyra's hand gently, feeling her warmth and trust. Thyra stood beside them, a towering guardian and now a friend, and together they faced the night, ready for whatever the galaxy had in store. Ethan smiled. Humanity had survived and humanity would thrive.